Hi everyone. Today I'm once again answering the question, what's that song? And this time I'm looking at the 2014 Western comedy, A Million Ways to Die in the West. This movie was directed and co-written by and starred Seth MacFarlane of Family Guy fame. It was MacFarlane's second live-action film and was inspired by his interest in old westerns. In fact, many aspects of the film are based on classic westerns such as Montana from 1950 and 3:10 to Yuma from 1957. Despite MacFarlane's comedy bona fides, this film was generally not well received and did not live up to the success of his previous comedy film, 2012's Ted. But one of the best sequences of the film that was generally more well received was the song and dance number found in about the middle of the film, If You've Only Got a Mustache. This song, sometimes just referred to as the Mustache Song, is heard at about the 62-minute mark when the town is holding a barn dance the night before MacFarlane's character Albert is set to have a duel with his former girlfriend's new boyfriend, Foy. At the barn dance, Foy requests this song to be played as a slight toward Albert, who is one of the only people there without a mustache. Here's part of the scene.
You men who long for love, you mustn't all despair. There's a secret you should know to capture the hearts of the fair. You may not have the looks, you may not have the dash, but you'll win yourself a girl if you've only got a mustache, a mustache, a mustache, if you've only got a mustache.
So, what's that song? If You've Only Got a Mustache is a comic song written in 1864 with music by Stephen Foster and lyrics by George Cooper. George Cooper was an American poet who wrote the words to several 19th century hymns, penned the lyrics to 22 of Stephen Foster's songs, and who, uncoincidentally I'm sure, had a great mustache himself. And Stephen Foster is one of America's most famous songwriters, arguably the first fully professional U.S. songwriter and the figure I use as the beginning of the Origipop era. This song is pretty different from many of Foster's earlier comic songs. It is much less of a nonsense song than Oh Susanna and Camptown Races, and is more of a precursor of the British music hall songs popularized by English comedians like William Lingard, who arrived in America just a few years after Foster's death, and George Laybourne, who wrote the words to The Daring Young Man on the Flying Trapeze. If You've Only Got a Mustache hilariously satirizes the mustache fashion of the day. The lyrics of the original song, slightly different than the version heard in A Million Ways to Die in the West, convey the message that as long as you have a mustache, everything will work out, and specifically, you will always be able to get a girl. The first verse says that no matter your age, you'll capture the hearts of the fair, if you've only got a mustache. The second verse states that you don't need manners, style, birth, fame, or money, if you've only got a mustache. The third verse continues by arguing that you can be stupid, naive, and ignorant, and you'll still end up with affection, money, and be all the rage with the girls, if you've only got a mustache. And the fourth verse tells the story of a man who was so sad he was about to throw himself into a river and end it all, until his friend gave him advice, and now he has a wife and 10 kids, all because he's got a mustache. And remember, this is the guy who wrote these words. I wonder if the song was more autobiographical or just wishful thinking. Anyways, the song as originally written is legitimately funny, even today, and pokes fun at the emerging fashions of the time surrounding mustaches. See, before the 1850s, facial hair in the US was generally avoided by men. But by the 1860s, facial hair began to take on new meanings of bravery and manliness, and its popularity grew in both Europe and the United States. There were several different styles from the time, but one of the most iconic was that sported by Union General Ambrose Burnside. In fact, the word Burnsides was coined to describe this style, and this was later reversed to give us the term we use today, sideburns. But the song was actually a bit ahead of its time, as it was written in 1864, but mustaches specifically, as a facial accoutrement, didn't reach their heyday until the 1880s. This was the era of the handlebar mustache, which was favored by American settlers and Wild West figures like Wyatt Earp. And this is exactly the time and culture being parodied in A Million Ways to Die in the West. The movie is set on the frontier in 1882, and the mustache culture of the time is a prominent part of the plot. One of the antagonists in the film, Foy, played by Neil Patrick Harris, sports an excellent handlebar mustache, runs the town's mustachery, and makes fun of MacFarlane's character Albert for not having a mustache. So, the song certainly makes sense in the context of the story, and it makes even more sense that it was included in the film if you know a bit about Seth MacFarlane and his musical tastes and habits. MacFarlane, as I talked about in my video on Origipop and Family Guy, loves the style of music I call original popular music, and uses these songs a lot in his other work, including Family Guy and his new show, The Orville. He's quoted as saying, "I always feel like somewhere in every movie there should be a song or a production number of some kind. And if you can get a song in there, it's just a nice Hollywood tradition." And so it makes sense that he would include a song, and specifically this song, in A Million Ways to Die in the West. Interestingly though, as knowledgeable as he is about this type of music, Seth MacFarlane, according to the DVD commentary, was apparently unaware of this song before the movie, and it was one of his co-writers, Wellesley Wild, who actually discovered it when he was looking for a good song to use in the film. As for how the song is performed in the movie, it's sung straight by the band leader and accompanied by his band behind him as everyone dances to it. The band leader who sings the song is actually singing. He's played by Amick Byram, a well-known tenor who has sung on both stage and film. He's known for providing the singing voice of Moses in The Prince of Egypt, and he worked with Seth MacFarlane previously on Family Guy, singing the Emmy-nominated song Christmas Time is Killing Us from episode 7 of season 9. The band playing the music in the movie is an actual bluegrass band, but the instruments they're playing on screen aren't real instruments. They're all repurposed tools originally used for something else. The guitar is actually a shovel, the banjo is made out of a pie pan, and the violin is a cigar box. In terms of the song itself, the version heard in the movie is a bit different than the original. The lyrics have been slightly altered, replacing some of the slightly older wording with some more modern terms and phrasing. And instead of the original 4 verses, there are only 3 plus an extended ending section. And there's a bit of a difference in the music as well. The original song is in 6/8, while the version from the movie seems to be in 4/4 or maybe 2/4. Also, while the first section of the song, the first 8 measures of the original sheet music, and the last section, kind of the chorus, the last 4 measures of the original sheet music, is pretty similar musically, the middle section, these 8 bars of the original here, are quite a bit different, with the original sounding a bit more operatic in style than the movie version. While this song is pretty obscure and hasn't been used in any other film I'm aware of, the original is available online, as it's obviously in the public domain, and it's pretty easy to find. I became aware of this song from this Treasury of Stephen Foster songbook that I have, and I have even performed it myself, sporting a mustache and with my kids joining at the end wearing little mustaches.
I once was in sorrow and tears, because I was jilted, you know, so right down to the river I ran, to quickly dispose of my woe. A good friend he gave me advice, and timely prevented the splash. Now at home I'm a wife and 10 heirs, and all through a handsome mustache. And all through a handsome mustache.
Anyways, that's about it. It's a fun and funny song that fits absolutely perfectly into this film. And if you've ever seen this movie, or even if you haven't, now you know. What's that song? Thanks for watching.
Mustache, big mustache, thick mustache, my mustache, your mustache. Say the word mustache. A mustache, a mustache. Now we both have said mustache, a mustache, a mustache.